Hey, this is John Campanelli, editor of Waste and Recycling News, and it's an honor to have in our booth today at WasteCon David Biderman, who's, wait, let's get the official title with the NSWMA. You are General Counsel and Safety Director.
That is correct.
All right, today you're here to talk a little bit about safety.
Absolutely.
Yesterday we learned with some government numbers, there's kind of a disturbing discrepancy. It's a 4-to-1 difference in injury illness rates, the public sector versus the private sector.
That is correct.
The big question is why? Why the huge difference and disturbing difference?
Sure, and this is a subject that NSWMA has been monitoring for a couple of years, ever since the federal government began to analyze safety data separately for the public sector and the private sector. We had always thought that the public sector rates were higher than the private sector. The data that the Bureau of Labor Statistics has released over the last few years, that the Federal Safety Agency, NIOSH, discussed at WasteCon yesterday, revealed that there was more than a 4-times discrepancy or disparity between the private sector and the public sector. These numbers are disturbing, and we in the private sector want to help the public sector understand the causes for their higher injury rates and try to develop solutions to address them.
I know there's a lot of theories. There's perhaps a difference in age, and maybe perhaps the private sector might have the safer equipment. What are some of the big reasons? Are those some of the reasons, or what are some of the reasons why there is the difference?
I think you've identified several of the reasons. Certainly the fact that the private sector fleets seem to be younger than the public sector fleet is one factor. NIOSH believes that the average age of the employee when he gets injured is a significant factor in these higher rates. Their data seems to suggest that local government employees are older than private sector employees in the solid waste industry. And with older workers come more health problems. People have to be out from work longer. And so they see that as a significant factor. Something that we think is a factor is that the public sector is made up predominantly of very small municipalities, 1, 5, 8, 9 truck operations. On the private side is dominated by very large companies that have very robust safety programs, companies like Waste Management and Republic and others. And as a result, those companies have helped drive the private sector numbers down significantly over the past decade. There has not been the same emphasis in the public sector. And lastly, the other factor that I think is important is that private sector employers in the United States are required to comply with OSHA rules. And so most solid waste companies have very strict OSHA compliance programs which help reduce injuries and accidents. I don't think there is the same dedication to OSHA compliance on the public sector side.
So what is the first thing the public sector should be doing here to reverse this? What would you do? You're in charge here. How can we get these numbers down? Well,
I think public sector employers need to look at their workforce individually and identify what are the hazards that are leading to increased safety risks for their employees. There isn't, unfortunately, a one-size-fits-all to this issue. If you're in a city out west, you may face different safety hazards than somebody might face here in Maryland. The type of equipment that you have poses different risks. Automated equipment poses a different risk than manual collection equipment. And before you can make a broad statement about how to address the problem, you have to identify what your problem is. And it's going to differ from municipality to municipality. What we try to do at NSWMA is offer safety tools that help municipalities and private sector haulers to assist in that evaluation. Whether it's safety videos or slow down to get around or safety training, we try to provide people with the tools to get that job done.
Great. It's admirable work. Well, thanks for stopping by, and you've been eloquent, so appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Good to see you.
Thanks for watching.